Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers, a hot show on tap today with all the latest technology. Andy's got the rundown.
Sam, more about Wendell Williams. And when are those Ghilardi indictments going to come down in Las Vegas? This morning from Las Vegas, we talked to John L. Smith, columnist for the Las Vegas Review-Journal. Sam?
And coming up on the Pundit panel today, Joe Brezny, Ray Bacon, and Alfredo Alonso. It's all coming up next on the all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by Charter Communication.
The Abowed family has an appetite for dialogue. Agree or disagree, have the conversation. All opinions are welcome. Since 1977, Adele's.
Catch a straight, dine at 8. Lucky you. Lucky you. Dance till 1. Have some fun. Lucky you. Lucky you. Taste the shrimp. Have a sip. Try the pool. Play it cool. At the Sienna Hotel Spa Casino. Lucky you.
The biggest risk your company can take.
Well, Barbara, you did very well on your interview.
Hiring employees can help your business get to the next level.
And your resume looks outstanding.
And it can also expose you to corporate crimes and costly lawsuits that can bring your company to its knees.
So, we'd like to offer you a position.
Before you hire another employee, hire the professionals at Employer Links. Call today to get our free CD-ROM, the top 8 risks of hiring employees.
If you own a business and want to maximize your company's potential, join the Retail Association of Nevada. Our membership benefits include the Nevada Retail Network Self-Insured Group, providing workers' compensation coverage that can lower your rates. That savings can go directly to your bottom line. We are an effective pro-business organization that lobbies on behalf of our business members. The Retail Association of Nevada, protecting Nevada businesses for 35 years. Call 882-1700 to see what we can do for your organization.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad, political analyst Ande Engleman on No Holds Barred Political Forum. Now, from the News 4 Broadcast Center, here's Sam Shad.
And once again, we welcome to the program John L. Smith. He's a columnist with the Las Vegas Review-Journal, one of the finest journalists in the state of Nevada, and the author of the brand new book of Rats and Men, available at your favorite bookstore. Welcome to the program, John.
Good morning. Thank you very much.
Good morning, John.
Good morning, Andy.
Okay, let's start out with the biggest story that's breaking out of Southern Nevada right now, John, is this whole Wendell Williams scandal. What do you make of it?
Oh, I'll tell you what, we've got a new thrill ride that's going up at the Stratosphere. It's called the X-Scream, and that's kind of the way I feel about the Wendell Williams issue. It's just one scream after another. Williams has having a problem here deciding which constituents, if any, that he's been serving. His time at the legislature, of course, was supposed to be spent full-time during the session, and there have been many signs that he wasn't there full-time. His time as an analyst with the city's Neighborhood Services Division is also another full-time job that he, of course, wasn't putting in full-time there either. Although he did receive pay for it, he's agreed to give back some of the money that it's been determined that he owes. Also, he's abused cell phone issues. There are many mini scandals, little fires breaking out in the Wendell Williams' career right now. He's going down. I guess the only question is whether he takes anyone with him.
Okay, well now when you say he's going down, he's in a pretty safe district as far as the legislature is concerned, isn't he?
No, absolutely, Sam. I'm not saying that he won't be reelected, but I think his effectiveness and his credibility as a legislator have been deeply damaged by these events. I think he's become kind of the poster child for the GOP's attempts to marginalize officials who also serve at the legislature.
John, he's been quoted as saying on television that he blames Richard Perkins for some of the problems, and he's very upset over losing his chairmanship of the Education Committee. Is Richard Perkins one of the ones he might take with him?
Well, you know, I think the Williams issue raises some very interesting questions about whether people who work for the government in some capacity, for instance, in the case of Perkins, of course, he's a police officer, in fact, a top member of the Henderson Police Department. So clearly, the issue that's being raised here.
Okay, we just lost your audio, John, so we're going to take a break and we'll come right back on Nevada Newsmakers after this timeout.
Hi, I'm Dan.
And I'm Terry.
And this is Dan's Pizza and Parlor. Everything we make here is from scratch. Our fresh cut fries, homemade hamburgers made to order, fresh pizza dough made with 3 types of flour, and Terry's secret pizza sauce, and Dreyer's world famous ice cream. And if you have a sports team, your kids can really have a great time here. Oh! Dan's Pizza and Parlor on Victorian Avenue, just down the street from Great Basin Brewery next to Pyramid Highway.
Would you like to savor a Trento pork chop? Or maybe pasta rags with grilled chicken? Hugo's Tuscan Grill at DeAndrea is a celebration of color, flavor, and freshness. Each dish is created from natural, wholesome foods that is delicious and nutritious. Hugo's is a comfortable restaurant with breathtaking city views. If you enjoy great food and good company, visit us here at Hugo's. It's the best that dining can be. 2900 South DeAndrea Parkway in Sparks.
Welcome to Sushi Club, best sushi in town. The Sushi Club in Independence Square used the best quality products. The sushi is dynamite, and the service is just wonderful.
The Sushi Club is bigger and better. We have 11 sushi chefs on staff, and the service is great.
All your friends will tell you that Sushi Club is the best place for the best sushi.
Come join us for lunch or dinner.
The Sushi Club, 294 East Moana Lane in the Independence Square.
Now that's great sushi.
To experience the royal cuisine of India, you need some serious magic or simply transport yourself to India Garden, right here in Reno, where you'll discover Indian specialties refined over centuries. Sikh kebab, tandoori dishes cooked in our own tandoor oven, biryani specialties, curries, fresh-baked Indian bread, over a dozen vegetarian dishes, even dishes rare to India like dosa, South Indian-style crepes. India Garden off South Virginia near Sports West. We are India.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad and Ande Engleman.
The technical gods are against us. John, we're back. Can you hear us okay?
I sure can.
Okay, good.
I can hear you.
Let me re-ask the question, because that was an important answer you were giving. Richard Perkins is being blamed by Wendell Williams for, of course, taking away his chairmanship, and he claims that Richard Perkins knew some of these problems during the session and never told him about it. You were talking about the Hatch Act, which we talked about on this show earlier this week, and the effect it may have on Richard Perkins' career.
Well, I think that there are separate issues here. First of all, Wendell Williams has been in the habit recently of blaming everyone but himself for his behavior. I think that's an issue that has to be held first and foremost whenever we have a discussion about him. Secondly, Perkins, of course, is a high-ranking official with the Henderson Police Department. And the issue that has been raised, and I think it's one that's been raised all over the country at one capacity or another, and that is whether it's appropriate for people who draw a check and actually might come in contact with federal funding to also be at the legislature. I think there is a real strong argument to be made that it violates the Hatch Act, and beyond that, I think a lot of states have just looked at it and found it rather questionable that so many people who serve in cities, counties, and state government are also there, passing laws and potentially affecting their own budgets.
Okay, and that would apply to what, the university system as well?
Well, I mean, it's a good question to ask. I don't know whether I agree, with some kind of clean sweep issue that's out there. That's certainly what's being argued. But some people would say that it does, that it would include the university. Others would say that, being a university professor is something separate and apart.
Okay, I want to ask you about the response of the African American community in Las Vegas to these revelations about Wendell Williams.
Well, it's an interesting response because it's almost a non-response. Although there have been a few folks have stepped forward and questioned the validity of the stories because of some form of racial bias that our newspaper, the Review Journal, might have, or that the local media might have against Wendell Williams. The fact is that if this were one or two incidents, there really wouldn't be much of a story there. What happened, unfortunately, really for a guy who's had a 20-year career at the legislature, is that these things have been piling up. I think there's a real issue of whether he worked and performed his duties at the city at a time when he was also at the legislature. Of course, the hiring of certainly an acquaintance of his, Topazia Jones, by the community college system has created a really dramatic separation of friends. John Cummings of the community college, Chris June Kiliani, the assemblywoman who also works at the college, and Wendell Williams have been long friends, and they are friends no more because of that issue.
Okay, let's ask you, and just change gears here for a second. The passing of Cy Red, the former head of IGT, a legend. Do you have some thoughts on Cy on this day?
Oh, absolutely. You know, I met Cy Red many years ago. He was a fine Southern gentleman who literally went from a barefoot Mississippi boy, selling grit newspapers way back when. Cy was born in 1911. He lived to be 91 and just passed away on Tuesday. But Cy never lost his sense of humor, and although he became a multimillionaire, he really maintained his kind of sense of himself and his sense of the country gentleman that he was. Cy, of course, was a great innovator in terms of the development of gaming, the video poker machine. He was one of the founders of international game technology. Cy had a tremendous mark in the history of legalized gaming and deserved to be one of those Hall of Famers.
John, I want to get back to the topic we were talking about before. For years, we have seen these cozy relationships between legislators being hired by local governments or state governments, et cetera, and then essentially carrying their water at the legislature when they're supposed to be elected to office and representing their constituents. Do you think it's possible that now we may see somewhat of an end to this cozy relationship?
Well, it's a good question. I think we might be asking too much to end the coziness, because of course, Nevada legislature is, if nothing, one large bed where a lot of folks get cozy. The fact is that I think some very valid questions are being raised now as to whether, given budget increases of a record-setting nature, whether it's still appropriate to have these citizen legislators who might be in office and also might be affecting budgets that mean pay raises for them and their friends. So I think it's a great question to ask. There are many serious issues affecting the legislature and the future of it. Whether we someday go to a full-time Assembly and Senate situation or not is a good question, perhaps for another program. But I think that these questions are being raised, and what I like about it as a journalist is that there's the great potential to actually ferret out the facts of how these people get their jobs, how they keep their jobs, and really what they had to do to get the job in the first place. I'm finding that at least in some situations, some of these people's only criterion for hiring has been, of course, the fact that they're serving in the legislature itself. They've shown no long or strong interest in a lot of these other duties for which they're being quite well paid in some situations.
John, after what we went through with the budget increases in the last session, I just cannot imagine for one second that we would end up with a full-time legislature anytime soon.
Not if the public has anything to say about it.
I want to get to your book here of Rats and Men. Your I don't want to brethren in punditry, John Ralston, kind of went on the attack on you a little bit on this book. What were your thoughts on that? We've got about a minute left.
Oh, I thought it was interesting that someone would devote 100 inches to review a book. A few more inches, he could have written his own book. No, I mean, the thing about Oscar Goodman is he's a complex character. Some people, that character, apparently are very disgusted by it, and apparently are disgusted by my own character as well. But I'm very proud of that book. I think the book is honest. I think it's very fair to the subject, but I also believe it points to areas of his life that that have never been written before. There's a lot of stuff that's never been published, and I think overall, I'm real pleased with the way it came out. It is, of course, a 130,000 word book. But
John, it's a wonderful book. We've got to cut you off here because we're going to lose the satellite window. We'll have you back here in the next week or so. Thanks for being here, and I'll plug the book after we say goodbye to you. One more time here. It's of Rats and Men by John L. Smith. It's a fabulous read, and you should go out and buy a copy. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers with the Pundits after this time out.
Take care of yourself with a visit to Tamarack Junction. Catch a hot cup of coffee and the morning news on one of our 32 TVs and enjoy the best food in South Reno. Tamarack Junction, your junction for fun. South Virginia and Amati Ranch Parkway.
The Abowed family has an appetite for dialogue. Agree or disagree, have the conversation. All opinions are welcome. Since 1977, Adele's.
Today's lesson, another reason to take the Gold Rush Club Card Challenge. With the Gold Rush card, you really have 3 cards in one. Use your cash back. You still keep your comps and drawing tickets. Use your comps. You still keep your cash and drawing tickets. And with your drawing tickets, you could win thousands in cold hard cash every week and still keep your cash back and comps. Does your club add up? Graduate to the Gold Rush Players Club. It's the smart thing to do. The Gold Dust West, south on Keystone, east on 4th.
When you sign up for Wells Fargo free checking, you get more than free checking. You get the freedom to bank when and where you want. Wells Fargo, the next stage.
Make your daily commute easy with breakfast or lunch at the Tamarack Junction. Enjoy daily specials, super fast service, and South Reno's freshest morning meals. Tamarack Junction, your junction for fun. South Virginia and Amati Ranch Parkway.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad and Ande Engleman.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we're joined by Ray Bacon and also by Joe Brezny. Welcome back to the program.
It's so much fun to have Joe on because we can tease him so.
All right, let's just start out with what's going on in Las Vegas with this Wendell Williams scandal. What does it say to you, Ray?
Well, I think it finally says that the ugliness of the last session is focused on a new level of scrutiny on all lawmakers, because there's a huge trend out there of just throw everybody out. There's, it's sometimes it's the hard or the bad 15, and sometimes it's the bad 14, and sometimes it's the magnificent 15 or the magnificent 14, whatever. But I think legislators across the board, every single one of them, either party is going to have a whole new level of scrutiny, and maybe we're going to see what's happening in California. People are going to start paying attention. I'd love to see us get to a 70% vote. That would just make my whole day.
Oh, me too. What do you think, Joe?
I agree that I'd like to see that high voter turnout. I would not want it to be because of things like recall elections and increased scrutiny and people making mistakes and people being up in arms about those mistakes. On the Wendell Williams issue, I mean, he's been accused of a lot of things and nothing's been proven, so of course we'll give him the benefit of the doubt, but man, it's a big hill to climb. I mean, if it was one thing, and that's what John Smith said, if it was one thing, you could say, well, maybe that's not true, but when I was a kid, my dad told me, son, if it looks like a duck and it's waddling and it's quacking, odds are it's a duck. And when you see so many of these different accusations, there's got to be something there. It seems like there's got to be something.
What about this cozy relationship that John and I were talking about? We've got public entities hiring people that after they're elected as legislators, to give them cushy jobs, and clearly they're looking out for those interests when they're at the legislature. You think the public's going to get fed up with this pretty soon?
I hope so.
Well, I hope so also in the area of if there are people doing things that are blatantly pay for pay-for-play power issues. But the one thing that I think we need to be careful of is a knee-jerk reaction, because just because one person is doing something wrong, let's police that and police that one thing. The beauty of the Nevada legislature is that it is a citizen legislature, is that you can log on to the website and get your senator's home phone number, at least the Republican ones, maybe the Democrats too, but my senators, you can get their home phone numbers and they'll answer your call. That's something we don't want to lose. And just kicking out all of the public employees, even the Hatch Act, which has been in
So you're not in favor of this initiative petition that would keep public employees from holding office, which is consistent with our Constitution?
I think that we're trying to fix something that's already fixed. And pretty much anything that George Harris does is a knee-jerk reaction for him to get ink and for him to get headlines. It's all about George. When George does something, it's so that George can get on TV. That's it. So I think the Hatch Act covers this. And there's a reason that in the Hatch Act there are exemptions for educators, because our Congress thought, gee whiz, we might want to have someone who knows a little bit about education representing us. So I think there's a reason that there are federal laws covering this, and I think it's going to be redundant.
But what if we have a legislature where there's an excessive percentage of public employees compared to the population as a whole?
Then you know what, I'd make a heck of an issue about that when I'm running against one of them. That's why we have elections. That's why we have people vote, and that's why we have the First Amendment, so people like me can go out and tell the electorate what's going on. We're trying to legislate common sense. We're trying to legislate what people that vote think. Let them think. Let them think on their own. If you leave things up to the electorate, they'll do okay.
They're a lot smarter than people give them credit for.
Yes.
Ray, this patronage thing goes all the way up to the top. I mean, the ambassadorships that are given out by the presidents. I mean, we had an ambassador from the Silver State to Iceland, I believe.
Yes.
In the form of Sig Rogic.
And
he ran to
someplace down the Caribbean, too.
Right, for Chick Hecht. And so, it's not just in local politics.
No, it's all the way through. And one of the things that's taking place, and you well know my position, I represent the manufacturers, that's a private sector entity. One of the things which has taken place is, if you take a look, the portion of our economy which is driven by government has drastically been increasing, and much more so over the last 20 years. At some point in time, people are going to get to the point where they say, I'm not sure I can afford quite this much government. Maybe we need to start scaling back on these things. We've started to look at government as the solution for all of our problems. You can't solve all problems. You can't throw enough money at all the problems in the world to solve all the problems. And so hopefully at some point in time we go back a little bit more towards a private sector orientation, or at least somewhat slow the growth in government.
Okay, well now, if I was to take the Democratic position here on this issue, what I would probably respond by saying is, there are certain things that are not going to get cut. Social Security, Medicaid, education, the big ticket items, and everything else is not that much by comparison. So where do you cut? What services do you cut?
Well, even when you get into Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, and things like that, there's even places there where we may have over-bureaucratized the thing.
But that's never what gets cut. What gets cut are the services directly to the people who need it.
Exactly, and that's the issue. Is if you take a look, the gain in productivity, and you and I were talking before the show came on, the real secret of Cy Red's departure yesterday. Cy made monumental changes in the productivity of the gaming industry in this state. Gaming machines today run much faster. When I came to the state in 1964, you go down to some of the smaller casinos and you'd see 10-15% of the machines with a hood over the top of the things because the slot mechanic hadn't got there. You look for an out-of-service machine right now in most of our casinos, you can't find one. Because they can, first of all, if they do have a problem, they can fix them in minutes. And second of all, the machines used to be just around and around and around forever. Now, the machines are dynamic, the games change every year. Harris didn't make that massive contract with IGT yesterday just for their own good health. There's a reason for doing that. The machines get progressively better, the machines are more productive, and that's made our entire industry grow. And I would contend that the productivity which has come out of IGT has made more difference in the gaming in this state than anything else.
And also the fact that later in his life, if it weren't enough for all he'd done with IGT, that then he went on to Mesquite and founded the Oasis there and just kept going.
Yeah.
I mean, just a remarkable figure in the history of Nevada.
And I think that's a good example of private sector innovation, and that's something you can't form a legislative subcommittee to attain. Private sector innovation is what our economy is based on, not forming bureaucratic subcommittees and trying to find the solutions
but
there.
my point of bringing up the IGT thing is we're not seeing the productivity gains that we should be seeing in the public sector. There are places that are doing it. There are schools that are drastically more productive than they were. If you take a look at Edmonton up in Alberta, drastic changes in their school system over the last 25 years. Private schools are closing up there because their public schools are so good. We don't have that problem.
We're almost out of time, and I want to quickly get this question in. We're seeing, the public is really fed up with illegal aliens at this point, and illegal immigrants, and it doesn't matter what country they're from.
A portion of the public.
A portion of the public is not Sam.
Good save, Sam. Good save.
And the legislature passed what I thought was actually a good law that says that driver's licenses can't be just handed out to anybody. You have to prove that you're in this country legally before you can get a driver's license in Nevada. But politicians of both parties are pandering to this group in hope of votes. Public's getting upset. Quickly, what are you guys going to do? What are the parties going to do?
5 seconds apiece. First of all, before we run out of time, I want to say go Cubs. Sorry, I had to go to Game 7, but let's hope they win Game 7. And secondly, we have laws regarding illegal aliens in this country
that aren't enforced.
We should enforce those laws.
You agree?
Agree.
Okay, then we're out of here. We'll be right back.
Big Apple Pizza, best pizza in Nevada, take one.
Today we're making homemade meatballs for a meatball parm. You like cheesesteak? I think you're like in South Philly right now. It's the best cheese ever made. Now that's how a Philly cheesesteak's supposed to look.
And here's little Cole.
This is authentic. We'll throw some pepperoni in here. Not gonna be shy about it. Yeah, I bet you guys didn't know I could do that. Don't skimp on the toppings. Authentic as it gets. Big Apple Pizza and Subs on the corner of Bering and McCarran, a New Jersey guy who knows how to make an East Coast pizza.
Would you like to savor a Trento pork chop? Or maybe pasta rags with grilled chicken? Hugo's Tuscan Grill at D'Andrea is a celebration of color, flavor, and freshness. Each dish is created from natural, wholesome foods that is delicious and nutritious. Hugo's is a comfortable restaurant with breathtaking city views. If you enjoy great food and good company, visit us here at Hugo's. It's the best that dining can be. 2900 South D'Andrea Parkway in Sparks.
Hi, I'm Dan.
And I'm Terry.
And this is Dan's Pizza and Parlor. Everything we make here is from scratch. Our fresh cut fries, homemade hamburgers made to order, fresh pizza dough made with 3 types of flour, and Terry's secret pizza sauce, and Dreyer's world-famous ice cream. And if you have a sports team, your kids can really have a great time here. Oh! Dan's Pizza and Parlor on Victorian Avenue, just down the street from Great Basin Brewery next to Pyramid Highway.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by Charter Communication.
This tomorrow when we talk to Jeff Fontaine, the head of the Department of Transportation, and Guy Rocha. See you tomorrow, and thank you for watching.